Well, as you can see, I'm out here taking my walk around the neighborhood, and it's a special day today. It's Easter Sunday. It's the weather is pretty nice today. I think during the week, Wednesday and Thursday, we had a lot of rain. Even Friday, we were forecasting that we might be getting a lot of flooding or street flooding here in Houston, but it rained a lot and there was a lot of thunder and lightning, but we didn't really experience any flooding, thankfully, or thank God. And yesterday was Saturday. I went down to the Woodlands, which is a city about 45 minutes from here, met a good friend of mine, I would say a college buddy, college friend that we've known each other since college together, and so that's been a long time. And he lives out in LA, which is Los Angeles, California. He was down here, flew into Houston he has family there, and to visit some relatives. And usually when he comes down, we get together, and we decided to meet in a location that was convenient for both of us, halfway between Houston and here where I live. So that was nice to see him. Had lunch and chit-chatted, talked, reminisced. If you heard that word, reminisced is like to talk about things in the past that people used to do, and we did that, reminisced. And we were together for about maybe close to 3 hours, and after that I went over to a special type of food store, say a health food store called Whole Foods. Got me a roasted chicken so I didn't have to cook yesterday or last night, and came back home. But thankfully the weather had cleared up, so yesterday there was no rain, and today it looks like no rain, although it's just kind of overcast, which means that it's cloudy. Still a little bit cool, not too bad, and I just can wear this jacket. So I wanted to show you something here across the street. You can see here, this is my neighbor's yard across the street. So we had the storms that blew in earlier toward the end of the week, and looks like it knocked this big limb, we say limb, L-I-M-B, or branch down from the tree. So luckily that wasn't over his house. But that kind of happens here in the neighborhood. As you can see, we have a lot of trees, and a lot of tall trees, a lot of pine trees. So I guess if it does rain a lot, the ground can get real wet or soggy or moist. If something's wrong with the roots of the tree, the roots, I guess, have to be raining a lot. Maybe the tree has some problem. Could cause the tree to fall over. But I wanted to tell you about something else. I've been, hitting the books hard, as we say, hitting the books hard, studying my Spanish, and just something I just love to do. And maybe you can relate to this, but the better you get, the more you can understand, the more you want to continue and to improve, because you see improvement, and I'm able to understand a lot more. I feel a lot more comfortable, when I'm speaking, and can carry on a pretty continuous and pretty fluent conversation about most subjects or topics. So I feel I'm pretty fluent. I'm not, native level or anything, but I can talk about most things and feel pretty comfortable about that. So I can give you an update of how my Spanish is coming along, and it's coming along real well. Thing that I like to do is the main things I like to do, I'll put it that way. That means I'll say it in this manner. I'll say it in this way. that I do now is mainly just watch a lot of YouTube videos in Spanish, you know, not really Spanish language learning YouTube videos, but YouTube videos of YouTubers traveling the world speaking in Spanish, or telling you about where they live, or talking about certain topics. I even watch YouTube videos, you know, about certain religious topics and just things I find interesting. So it's not really language learning per se. And also watch some Spanish series on Netflix. So, you know, I watched this series in the past called La Esclava Blanca. It was very good. Now I'm watching El Dragón. It's a series from Mexico, and I watch that on Netflix. So that's pretty much all I do. I do read a little bit Spanish books on my Kindle. I'm reading a book by Jorge Ramos right now, but I don't read that much. It's mainly just listening. Still listen to a lot of podcasts. I have about maybe 10 or so podcasts on my phone that update, and I listen to maybe a podcast a day. I don't listen, you know, to a lot of podcasts a day, but mainly just watch videos, and I do try to talk. I have an iTalki teacher I've told you about. We talk about once a week, and then I also have maybe one or two people I talk through I've met on Conversation Exchange, and we just meet with each other and practice, you know, English, Spanish, 30 minutes each. So that's pretty much my routine. But I wanted just to tell you about something that I found out this morning, which I had heard about and knew about because my brother had told me about this maybe a year ago or more, but I never really checked into it. I never really looked into it to see how powerful it was, but it's a Google Chrome extension called Language Reactor. Because I was, this morning, I was looking at different applications or services to help study languages, and when I was looking at Fluent U, and then because I saw a little YouTube video about that, it looked kind of cool. And there's also one called LingoPie and Yabla, I think. So those are paid services. I was seriously thinking about maybe checking that out, signing up for a month or two, and just play around with those to see how helpful they would be. But then I stumbled across, it's kind of like I accidentally ran into something or found something out about something. This Google Chrome, which is a browser, but it's an extension called Language Reactor, and you can use it with Netflix and YouTube videos. And I thought, well, this is perfecto, because that's what I watch mainly, and if I can use this as I'm watching these videos, that can be beneficial. So Language Reactor, you have to use Google Chrome, and I think they're working. I normally use Firefox as my browser, but the Language Reactor does not work with Firefox yet. They say they are working on a extension for Firefox. So you have to use Google Chrome. So I downloaded Google Chrome this morning and then logged into Netflix website. And the Language Reactor, like I said, is an extension. So it shows you the subtitles in, say, in my case, Spanish. If you want, it also has the English translation or the English subtitles. Then the neat thing or the interesting thing about it is that if there's a word that you don't know, there's a bug, you don't know, you just click on the word and it will have a definition, and also kind of use it in sentences, other contexts, which is cool. You can click on the word and save the word like into a vocabulary list. It has a word listing of words that are repeated in the video, and you can go through and check that. So it's basically, that's the same thing I was doing on my own without Language Reactor, but I would watch the Netflix video. If there's a word, I had the Spanish subtitles on. If there was a word I didn't know and I wanted to check it out, I would have to stop the video then go to my phone or my iPad, look up the word in in a dictionary, and then sometimes I make a note of it in my Kindle. So that was kind of a little time consuming, kind of tedious, but now I can really do the same thing, but it's much easier. So I can watch the video, subtitles. If I see the word, I just click on it and it automatically gives me the definition without me having to go to a second source to try to look up the word and the definition. So it's much quicker. And then I can put these words in a vocabulary listing, and I haven't researched it further, but I'm assuming I can go back and review this list, and I know I can actually download it. The only thing I don't know if I can download, say, the transcription or transcript of the video or some of the lines, but I'm still playing around with the application or the extension. I'm playing around with, still kind of figuring it out, trying to learn how it works and what I can do with it. But if you haven't heard of Language Reactor and you use Google or have access to Google browser, I seriously highly recommend that. I think you can use that in studying English as well. So let me know if there's some applications that or extensions that you use to help you learn English. Are you using sites like FluentU, Yabla, and that sort of thing? So LingoPie, are there any others that you use? So let me know. Well, I just walked a little bit further down the street, not that much further, and came across this, and this is a huge tree that kind of just fell over. Must have blown down in the wind as well, but these people that live in this house were very, very lucky because the tree fell away from the house. If it would have fallen towards and onto the house, it would have caused some serious damage to the roof and maybe the structure of the house. So it's like they got to get a tree company to come out here and to cut this off and haul it away, because that's a very substantial tree, or pretty good sized tree. That means it's pretty large, that they need to take care of. So I'm surprised that's the second tree or limb that's fairly big, good size, that has come down in somebody's yard. Well, as I continue on my walk, just wanted to say, I mentioned earlier in the beginning that today is Easter Sunday, and here in the United States, a lot of people go to church on Sunday. And normally we go to church on Sunday, but my wife's not feeling well. We say her allergies have flared up. That means that her allergies have just become very bad, and it's really bothering her. She can't breathe well. She just doesn't feel well. So we're not going to be going to church today. But we have an interesting situation, maybe, because she's Catholic and I'm Protestant. I grew up Catholic as a kid. Went through First Communion, was an altar boy, and went through confirmation. But when I was in college, I started reading the Bible a little bit, and there were some things about the Catholic Church that I felt a little uncomfortable with. And for me, I'm not saying what's right or wrong, but for me, I felt I was more comfortable. I started going to a Protestant church, a Baptist church, or some non-denominational churches, and I just felt more comfortable going to another church, another denomination. It's not another religion, it's still Christianity, but so I belong to a kind of say non-denominational church here. But we support each other, so we say switch off. We switch off or alternate. So one Sunday we go to my church, and the next Sunday we go to the Catholic church, my wife's church, and that's something we both are comfortable with. And she likes coming to my church, and I like going to the Mass, Catholic Mass. It's it's kind of two very different things or ways to worship, but it's works for us. So like I said, here in the United States, there's still a lot of people that go to church, although that seems to be changing, especially among the younger people, the younger generation. Excuse the noise. I think there's a helicopter flying overhead, a helicopter, or a chopper. Sometimes we say a chopper, or whirlybird. A whirlybird. Have you heard that? It's another word for helicopter. But here in the United States, and there was a saying back in the day, and it may still be true to a certain extent. They say Sunday mornings are the most segregated time in the week here in the United States. Segregated means like the races, the blacks, the whites, Hispanics are separated, because a lot of times, there'll be churches for black, where the black people go, churches that are mainly white, or white people go, Hispanics have their own church, and some of that may be due to language, for the Spanish-speaking people, or if you speak another language. But a lot of the churches, especially like African-American churches, came about because, during segregation, where the blacks were discriminated against, they had to form their own schools, their own universities, their own churches, because they couldn't go to, white facilities, white churches, that type of thing. So, and that has still kind of continued to this day. And, there are certain neighborhoods that are predominantly black or predominantly white, which means mainly black or mainly white. So people that live in those neighborhoods go to those churches. So churches here in the States can still be, say, racially segregated, not by law, but just that's the way it is. So I have to say, with the Catholic Church, and my church is a good mixture of all types of people and races, nationalities, which is a good thing to see. But I just say that because maybe you didn't know that. If you go to a church, don't be surprised if you see mainly, one race of people or so, depending on where the church is at. But we say too that here, most people that do go to church, a lot of times people don't go to church regularly, though. They don't go to church every Sunday. And we have a kind of a running joke that says, if you go to church on Christmas and New Year's and Easter, the church is going to be packed. It's going to be packed means like there's going to be a lot of people, because it seems like some people only go to church on Christmas or Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve perhaps, and Easter, and you don't see them the rest of the year. So that's just something interesting fact for you. But typically, we do try to go, and it's interesting for Easter especially. You see people dress up real nice or real fancy. We say real fancy. They wear a lot of their dress clothes, their good clothes. And it's interesting, the women will wear their Easter hats or Easter bonnets. And so it's kind of interesting to go to Easter service here in the United States. But later on, we were invited to go to some friend's house for a kind of Easter lunch at around 2 o'clock, but I don't know if we're going to go since my wife is not feeling good, but it's okay. She met with them yesterday, and so she saw them. And like I said, yesterday I was busy visiting with my college buddy, but this evening my wife's daughter-in-law is going to bring over the 3 grandkids to spend the night with us, and we're going to watch them tomorrow because their mom is a teacher and she has to go teach, but the kids are off from school tomorrow, so the kids don't have school, so she needed somebody to watch the kids, so we're going to watch them while she's at work. So I know my wife is always excited when the grandkids come over and she gets to spend some time with them. So that's kind of what we're doing for today and tomorrow. Like I've told you before, I like to take a walk around the neighborhood. Been walking, usually you'll walk for about an hour. And you might be asking, hey, why do you like to walk so much? Or why do you walk so much? And you're pretty thin or skinny. You don't need to walk, for, say, exercise or to lose weight, or maybe mainly to lose weight. And that's true, but I'm 60 years old now, and I found that the older you get, it's kind of the harder it is to stay in shape and to maintain a baseline of, physical activity. And once you stop and you try to get back into doing some exercise, it's tough to start over again. So it's better to try to maintain a base level of fitness and just do that. So that's why I like to walk. My doctors say I need to do some regular exercise because, with this health condition that I have, this colon problem, it helps to walk, to move around, and I feel better. And I found when I wasn't exercising, my legs really got weak. I lost a lot of strength in my arms and upper body, and that's very normal too as you age. I realized I don't have the physical strength I had, when I was in my 20s and 30s and 40s. And I've noticed that in my wife as well. She's about the same age, and she's lost a lot of strength as well. So I do work out. I use a little total gym in my house. I just do arm curls and some other bench press, some other exercises to try to stay toned and maintain, again, a base level of strength for that. But also another reason that I walk, and you might find this surprising, but I have high cholesterol, very high cholesterol. But the weird thing about it is that it's basically, the doctors have told me it's genetic because I don't eat any fatty food, fried foods. I just mainly eat is chicken, fish, and vegetables. I don't eat beef, very, very rarely. And I said I don't eat fried foods. I don't eat breads and chicken. Chicken's cooked. I eat chicken. I don't eat cookies, cakes, chips, potato chips, that type of thing. French fries, hamburgers, hot dogs, nothing like that. It's just mainly baked chicken and, steamed vegetables and fish is my diet. So the doctor told me, well, you can thank your parents for that. I don't know if I should thank them or not, because he said it's genetic. And my mother had very high cholesterol too, and she was a very small, petite person. Petite is like small size, wasn't overweight. She ate very well. She was a healthy eater. So it's something that we say that runs in the family, I guess, for me. But the weird thing too is that my twin brother, he eats the same thing that I do. We have the same diet because he has a similar type of, say, gastrointestinal issues like me. But his cholesterol is not high like mine, so that's weird how that works sometimes with genetics. He has some other issues that I don't have, so but my cholesterol was, borderline, a little over 200, but in the last year or two, it's just really gotten much higher. So I'm taking some cholesterol medication, and it's dropped the cholesterol down, but it's still too high. So the doctor says it's very important to exercise and to try to help with that. So I'm working on it. It's working. The cholesterol level is dropping. It's a slow process. I'm not responding as quickly to the medication as is normal, as maybe most people do, but it is working. So I just want to try to make sure I do what I can do to help with this situation. And the doctor also said it'd be good if I could take a baby aspirin, like once a day or every other day to help, thin the blood a little bit, to help with maybe the plaque that may build up in the arteries and that type of thing. So I don't have any problems, health problems related to that, heart issues, but he did a kind of test of my heart, arteries, everything came back fine, but time will tell. Well, as I'm kind of continuing on my walk, I won't make this video too long, but I did say earlier it is Easter Sunday, and out of curiosity, I'd like to know, is Easter celebrated in your country? I know, some countries it is, some countries it isn't, but let me know if it is celebrated where you live, what country you're from, and is it a special day? Do families get together on Easter or Easter weekend to celebrate anything special that you do? Do you go to a mass or service, church service in your country? A lot of people, do they just mainly go to church on these kind of special days like Easter and Christmas? And what is it like? Do a lot of people still go to church in your country? Is it, there's a splash in the water here, big splash. I don't know what that was, but let me know what you think. So I won't make this video too long, and I think I'll probably wrap this video up here. Maybe I'll stand here by the lake and close out with the lake as a backdrop. So this has been another episode of Learn Everyday English, my daily walk. Like I said, it hasn't been daily lately because I haven't been able to go out and walk because has been raining so much and the weather was kind of cold. But now that the weather has improved, I'm going to start my regular walks again. So hopefully you like this video. So remember, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends about it so that they can benefit from these videos too. Hey, just like you. So again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Learn Everyday English. Talk to you later. Ciao.